So I just asked the question about feeling like being on the edge of overwhelm.
And I thought it was kind of normal.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the more answers we get, the more questions comes up. It's like the more we expand, the more possible possibilities there are there, and the more we have to take notice of it.
yeah,
Like all the things that didn't really matter don't really matter at all. Like there's wars and all that. I don't even care about that anymore because nothing I can do about that. They have to figure it out for themselves.
yeah,
But when I then start to question myself what I can do something about, whoa, so much more possible possibilities have come to light.
hmm,
Like the new friend I got, she's in a wheelchair because she had a stroke, and her left side, she can feel it, but it won't really do what she asked it to do. So I'm
hmm,
gonna work a little on that. Tell her to step into her higher self, and remember, just think back when she could use it, and step
mm,
into the energy from that time, and not even think about moving the body. Let it move from the higher self. So give her some keys for the doors, because I don't really think those people who are actually supposed to give you the keys, they just want to drug you up and have you sit there like a zombie.
yeah,
Uh, because I think all of us can get back from that. But as long as we believe what's in our head, we'll never get there. It's limited, and it's where the stroke happened. So
yeah.
that's why my word of the day will probably be sharing energy, sharing knowledge, sharing my heart.
Well, thank you for sharing that story because that just gave me some new insights as well. Because I've been a little frustrated, especially the last few weeks, is some ailments that I've been dealing with in my body have been flaring up the last few weeks. And I really don't appreciate that stuff coming up into my awareness. But one thing I'm coming to realize is that a lot of the physical ailments that I've gone through in my lifetime have not been mine.
Mm-hmm.
They have not been because of my life or my experience or anything like that. They're kind of they're things that are it's it's residue of stuff that's in the collective that's
It's
being resolved through my physicality, if that makes any sense.
yeah, like residue of bad programming that just
Yeah,
remains with
yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly. And it might be ancestral, generational, um, It could be some past life stuff. There could be, all kinds of that. It's when I use the word residue, that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It's like bits and pieces of things. Okay. But what I know for sure is that it's all fractal. It's kind of like, certain residue has been assigned to me and my body to live through and resolve.
Yeah. Figuring out.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just gotta let go, trying to figure it out. Just
Oh yeah. Yeah. Figuring out is not helpful, actually. It's
nope.
really, you
It's
know,
the more we know, the less we actually know.
well, yeah. 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 Figuring out is distraction and resistance.
Yep.
To me, it just makes things linger longer.
It's because we're giving it energy and giving it what's it called? Gravitas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I just realized just now too is like I say, I keep thinking this stuff is mine, and I've been working, or uh, I've been unconsciously living this pattern that says, where I tell myself that this stuff somehow belongs to me and that it's part of my identity. And neither of those two statements is true. It's not mine, and it's not personal. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with me or this individual.
Nothing really is. Everything is just rented. Even people who bought
Ah,
within
yeah,
100 years, that house will not be owned by them and might not even be owned by their family.
yeah, yeah,
It's just, what is it called? The consumer's program that buy this and you own it. You're only renting it at a high cost for a short while compared to
yeah,
how long the earth has been here.
yeah,
I think that you're at the ocean for a reason, so you can see how every wave just crashes into the beach, and as soon as it does, it gets absorbed by the ocean again.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It just keeps repeating.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it's not like that wave haven't been alive for a long time because it started somewhere either on the other side of the ocean or in the middle of the ocean or because a ship sailed by, something that created the ripples and giving it energy, and the energy will continue to flow until it hits the beach.
yeah,
Often when we're doing this, I'm thinking about surfing. You can't fight the wave, even though I never surfed that skateboard because but I've
yeah,
seen what happens to surfers when they're trying to fight. It'll eat them up alive that way. But if they just relax and go with, they can surf for half an hour on a wave, just keep going down the beach.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration between surfboard, surfer, and the wave.
Yeah. And the gravity of the moon.
Yep, everything has influence.
Yeah.
I think even the gravity of our own body, how we settle it, has influence. That it's not totally relaxed state, but it you have to relax to, or you would be stiff like a board and wipe out.
Yes.
So it's being a fluid state.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels really chaotic until all those parts come together.
Yeah,
You know, the surf's up and you catch the right one and you lean into the curl.
yeah.
First you ride it and then you become one with the wave.
I liked watching surfing when I was younger on TV.
Yeah, I
It
did
looked
too.
so it looked so calming when they hit into the tube and they said all sounds just disappear. There's nothing but you and the wave. Wow. From the roar of the waves to nothing. Amazing that such a wild place can be so silent.
Yeah. You know, even just talking about this and picturing it is giving me a real calming sense in my body.
Same here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just, yeah. You know, what's interesting is I've never surfed.
You need that.
I still haven't surfed yet. And yeah, well, I lived close to the ocean for 17 years and I never learned how to surf. But I've wanted to surf since I was in my early teens. You know, I grew up listening to Beach Boys music, for heaven's sakes.
Well, I think we've been surfing more than most surfers. We've just been doing it on a higher level, on different waves,
Yeah.
because we can really imagine what it feels like. I've been living with the ocean all around me my whole life, and I still haven't tried surfing, but it's because it's expensive to get a surfboard, and you need a car, and you need
Yeah.
lots
Yeah.
of
Exactly.
excuses, but none of them are actually really good. But it means something else. I must let go of something else, and I like the things I'm doing. Probably why I took up skateboarding instead. Can do that
Yeah.
right outside the door.
Yeah. You're pretty good at it.
I was, but now I just use it for transportation.
Ah,
I use skateboard and rollerblades. I was actually pretty good with rollerblades, but ever since I moved, it's a big city and there are actually hills here that, and I don't use brakes because I was used to a nice flat ground. We lived just outside every hill and that. So I used to put my rollerblades on and skate all the city limits of each sign of Frederikshavn, and it would be about 10 miles or so. I used to do that in the summertime, in ever since when I could take them out in the late spring, and then I would do it until middle of autumn. Just go out and roll around. Great exercise and silence. And I tried playing golf, but it's no fun playing alone.
yeah.
You need someone to compete with. It's like this. It's no fun doing this alone. It's way more expensive to doing it together. When I was playing with the ones who are way better than me, I would play way better. It's
Mm-hmm.
like their energy would rub off. It's like this when we're sparring with someone who's been there or done that, or you've done something they haven't, then we can trade energies. Sharing.
I bought my own pair of roller skates 45 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah. 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 And I bought some really good outdoor wheels on Manhattan Beach in LA
oh,
about 5 years later. And they're still on my skates, believe it or not.
oh.
So I've got regular roller skates. I also have a pair of roller blades.
I started with normal roller skates, but then they came with the roller. We used to play hockey on on normal rollers side by side. But as soon
Yep.
as they got inline, oh my God, way faster and way more easy to snap up the ball with the four wheels than if you did it with the two. If you didn't hit it, you would stumble upon the ball instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I've played hockey with both.
Same here.
Yeah, in fact, I roller skated on the beach back in January, San Diego. I've got pictures.
Oh, yeah. At your beaches, you have a what's it called? A walkway. At
Yeah.
Denmark, it's just pure beach with sand. You need to go 5, 6, 700 meters, and then there's a road.
Mm-hmm.
But everything outside that is just sand.
Yeah, that's the problem with the beaches in Oregon is they're all public. They made a law back in the 60s that all of the beaches would be public.
Oh,
So that whole coastline's public, but because of that, there's no real development on it. Like there's no like skating lanes or anything like that. At least not that I've found. Mind you, I haven't been on every inch of the beach. So
it's a big beach.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like at Manhattan, where I bought my wheels. There's a it's either pavement or concrete. out in front, and there's stores on the beach and all that kind of stuff, and um, beach volleyball courts on the sand and stuff like that. But there's lots of places to skate.
I think the reason they've made the road so far away from the beach is because the beaches always changes in Denmark. We've got two oceans surrounding us, and we only have on the widest place in Denmark, I think, 100 kilometers from side to side. I
Yeah,
believe in on the top there's about a half a meter that moves. The one beach from one side moves to the other yearly or so.
yeah, yeah. Well, isn't Denmark right between the Baltic and the North Sea?
We are in the north. We have the North Sea
On the west?
on the east, and then we got the Atlantic Ocean on the west. We are we have England protecting us and Norway, but the Gulf Stream ends in at the bottom of Denmark in Esbjerg and starts at the top of Denmark at outside Skagen.
Oh yeah.
So whenever there's a storm in the US, normally 3 to 4 weeks later we have the residue over here.
Wow.
Over the normally we would only get a real storm. What did they say? Every 50 years, but ever since 2000 or 1999 or something, it's been sort of every 3 or 4 years we get a real big storm. So the weather is changing.
Yeah. Yeah, these energies I'm talking about that seem to be intensifying. I can feel that in my body. I kind of know what's going on. And these energies are transformational. They're transitional. They're creating major waves.
Yep.
And just this realization again today that none of that is personal.
It's happening to everyone.
Yeah, it's happening to everyone. And the thing is, we have an opportunity to consciously engage with it. To consciously be part, to, to engage with, to participate with those energies and what they're doing. And ride them. Utilize those energies and transform along with them.
Like a surfer surfing, transforming his energy to become part of the wave.
Yeah. Reminds me about what Spicoli said in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The wave comes up and says, "Hey, bud, let's party."
Uh, yeah.
So another way of saying that is this life I'm living through is not mine.
This life is just here to experience whatever we can experience during this lifetime. But I think everyone wants to, it's mine, mine. They think they're going to live forever.
And part of surrender is actually letting go of this life that I think is mine.
Yep. When we get to let go, we get to do what Allison said the other day. We get to release. And like you said, then we get to feel like that helium balloon just floating away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we can ride it instead of identifying with it.
Mm-hmm.
Ride it instead of owning it.
Yeah. Instead of becoming it, we become the awareness of being it, or
Yeah,
it's beingness, since we're
yeah.
only the awareness. It's what we're doing here. We are the awareness, whatever is happening.
Yeah, a lot of that comes down to language. When you give up ownership of your life, then all the I ams change. For some reason, it's necessary to go through a stage where you somehow think your life belongs to you in order to realize that it doesn't and that it never did. Kind of like you have to become individual for a while to find out that you're not.
Exactly. You have to learn to be it to let go of it. It's like they say, how can you get out of it if you're not in it? You have to get in to get out. It's sort of like being born, and we're getting into it, and the more we figure out that it's not really what we are, it's just something we're put in, the more we get to let go of it.
Yeah, one thing I've been going through the last few days is this strange urge to speed everything up. A strange urge to get moving. And what I'm noticing is that these energies I'm feeling are the ones that are doing the moving. And it's kind of like for me to be slowing down.
Yeah. I think it's the old program that says we need to hurry it up, no patience. And as we learn patience, we actually think, oh, we can do this faster, but faster isn't better.
Yeah, yeah. It's
When
like
we
the old
especially when we
energy
do
tells you you have to
it,
generate your own waves.
yeah,
And I'm coming to realize that I don't.
then we need to work and participate instead of just go with the flow.
Well, and anticipate the right one, like how many minutes does a surfer sit on their surfboard just waiting for that perfect wave?
Yeah, staring out the horizon before the wave even becomes wave, just looking at the ripples for that one. Look, the right speed, the right amount of power to actually rise up.
Yeah. I mentioned the last time I was at the beach was back in late January, early February, San Diego. and we're actually at La Jolla, which is a very famous surfing spot, actually, and watching the sea lions,
Mm.
and that's all they do all day is ride waves. It was just amazing, and I was really inspired by them and by watching them and realizing that that was kind of a forecast of this life that I'm here to live. Is just about riding the waves, and getting really good at it.
Getting a feel for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just like when you're riding the perfect wave, some idiot comes and block you off and knocks you down. That's life hacking.
Sometimes,
Yep.
and I get the sense as I was watching them ride the waves is I don't know that they differentiate between a good wave and a bad wave. They just have the patience to stay in the water.
So what part of structure would the overwhelm be?
Crumbling.
Good question. There are many structures.
Crumbling ties with an overwhelm. Right? That's consistent. It's consistent view with the term, with the description of overwhelm.
Yeah, in a way, I'm overwhelmed by all the structures there are. There are way too many for, and a lot of them is actually, I feel like that many of them are set up to fail. They're not built to last.
Yeah, so then they're really I don't want to worry about that.
Well, they're still overwhelming.
Mhm.
But it's not. I don't think I actually worry about much anymore because the worrying takes me out of the present.
Well, here's when I asked the question, I had the answer of it's the current reality. It is the present. It is what's there. It is the information.
Mm.
The info against what background?
Well, it is what's in form. That form is a structure of some sort.
Mhm. Yeah. So in form of that structure. So as it is, and compared to what? And not compare maybe, but in focus of something else, in contrast of. Simplest answer is your dream, your desire. No,
Many
it
of my
might not have.
desires, many of
Sorry,
my
Heinz.
desires isn't actually up to me because things I desire is for people to be happy and satisfied, and it has nothing to do with me. But if they're happy and satisfied, they'll mind their own business and stay out of mine. But I think most people are mirroring in other people, and when they aren't satisfied with theirs, they try to pick yours down in a way. I don't know why. a lot of the things that people are doing, I don't get why they're doing it, because it's not what I see as human. As whenever we are listening to Christmas, it's about sharing and goodwill towards others, and the Bible is treat your next like you would treat yourself and everything. And then you see the world, it's actually opposite. Or one day a week they go to church, and as soon as they got out of there, they forgot all about what the priest told them. So I think it's a lot of masks. People are trying to be something that they think the world wants them to be. And me, I just want to be me. I walk around smiling, being happy, and sometimes I actually just feel sad, and not real sadness, but it's not a negative feeling, but a feeling of longing for something, because I'm thinking back on when my wife was alive, my mother was alive, anything that just pops into my head, and it pops in with a feeling. But like I look at it, it's wow, it's maybe 10, 20 minutes a day. That's nothing compared to the rest of the day. Then I walk around with this big grin on my face. Sometimes my lips might be smiling, but inside I'm laughing.
Did you wear masks before?
Yeah, when I tried to fit in, whenever I had to go out, I had to, oh, how do they want me to be? It was all about assumptions and beliefs that weren't mine, that the TV told me ever since I quit having any news stations, everything I watch on TV is something that I can pull down from the internet, so I can choose it myself, YouTube or whatever. So I actually decide what. Ever since then, I don't care what people think, because I know no matter what I do, half of the world won't agree with me anyway. Doesn't matter which half, but I can't please everybody. So because everybody has some way of thinking, that's how it should be. So I just put on my happy face and treat the world like this. And I realized whenever I go shopping, I actually make the teller feel happy about himself, because I come, hello, are you having a great day? And actually give them, and they say, wow, what a positive response. Well, I could come here with a negative response, but it would hurt the 10 next people who got after me. So I do my best to raise the frequency, not bring it down.
So through your own mask, can you see why people would wear their masks?
The same reason I did, to try to fit into what they think the world wants them to be, assumptions. And because many of us actually take things personal, I don't think anything's personal. I don't go around, why did that happen to me when it happens to a million other people? And it's not just something that's happening to me. It's like Craig said, we don't really own it. It's not ours. It's just a story we tell ourselves that it's ours. So we need to let go. The more we cling on to beliefs and assumptions, the more misery we bring on ourselves. I watched the 4 Agreements on YouTube. I like the one where he says, "Don't take anything personal. It has nothing to do with you that other people are having a bad day." Ever since I joined RJ's course, he gave me some words so I could understand myself even better, because I know what the feeling was like, but I didn't have words to put onto it. And then I got onto this. Whoa, all the words I've actually gotten here because of word sharing and word explaining, and what 5 words can you associate that with? Oh, it opens up so much expansion that it's way easier to just say, wow, it actually has nothing to do with it. It just happened to me, but it has nothing to do with me. So I think that's what a lot of people are missing in the world, is the right words.
Mm.
Or the right analogies or whatever, so they can see that, hey, it is just what is. It's not just something that's happening to me, or something that I don't understand, or something that I can't put words to. Words sort of liberate you in one way when you get to understand them better.
Yes, Heinz, I would say my word to put in there of what people are missing is awareness.
Yep, a great word.
And aware of all that you said. That it's like, simple for me is to be aware of their patterns, aware of the conditioning.
Voice creaking.
Or I'd even add to that, aware of the structures that they're depending on.
Ooh.
That is it.
Yes.
Because to me, that's when I feel the overwhelm, is when there's a structure that's falling apart, that I've kind of that I kind of have a dependency around.
Mm-hmm.
So what's my relationship with that structure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's what's the relationship with falling apart? The vision I get is you get really busy filling in the cracks, trying to hold it all up.
Yeah, it's like the Dutch boy putting his finger in the dike. It's kind of like that.
Put the finger in the bake.
Yeah. And then the crack gets bigger and you got no more finger.
And then we can always then it's looked at like, well, what am I resisting? But again, it takes the awareness, Craig, right?
Yep. Yep.
You know, so to, like Heinz says, is to name that it's overwhelmed. Oh, that's the huge step right there. Like, oh, overwhelmed. What am I overwhelmed with? What does overwhelm mean? It's an animal that's aware of the current reality.
Yeah, it's too much charge in a short period of time.
Mm. Or an accumulation of it. Or an expectation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's become a lump of energy that's more than a nervous system can handle.
Your nervous system is creating it.
I don't know about that. My nervous system creates a response to it. I'm sure of that.
Good. Well, let's back it up then, and creates a response to what? So we would say the response is overwhelm, right? Is that what we'd say?
Yep.
Yeah, but probably not initially.
True.
It's like our immune system is fighting off a disease. Same with our nervous system. When it gets overwhelmed, it has to fight off whatever is overwhelming it.
Very interesting. We get to the point of where's the power, the focus.
Yeah, the power is in the response.
Mhm. Of course. Not quite what I was meaning by it, though. Something causes the overwhelm.
Well, there's a stimulus of some sort.
Mhm. External or internal.
It's often because when it happens, we start paying attention to it. And when we pay attention to it, we put our energy into it, and then it's rolling until we actually let go of it again.
And that thing, is it external or internal?
A bit of both, I think. It starts with external and then it moves internal, and we solve it externally or not internally to let go of it externally.
Yeah, I was getting that too, Heinz. That it starts external. A
Good.
stimulus comes from outside.
Mm-hmm.
But what can happen is that stimulus can be internalized.
There you go. Of
If
course
it's
that
not
happens.
if it's not resolved correctly.
Yep. Or viewed, if seen, right? It's always that internal choice of how we see it. And that's where the awareness happens, right? At that filter.
Yeah, or how we interpret it.
Same thing. Yep. That filter.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the misconception that, and the point of it is it happens so quickly. How we see it is what we make it up to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that filter that's created.
Yep. That internal
Not the
perception.
response, but the filter, perception.
Yeah, well, you can say they're so intertwined at that point.
I don't know that they are initially.
Not initially,
Like I'm
not
thinking back
before.
as a child, right?
Yeah,
And how that
exactly.
stuff develops in the first place.
Yes. That is the best way to make sense of it, is to go back on a blank canvas. Why would I do that?
So consider you have a baby that's sleeping. And somebody wakes it up. So you got this outside stimulus that's telling you to wake up. So there's an interpretation of that wake up stimulus and a question around it, probably.
What's yours when you're woke up out of a sleep? Jarred out of a sleep. Usually we want to know what it was, right? What is that?
Yeah. What is it or what's wrong?
Yep.
Yeah, that was what was coming to me is what's wrong.
Hmm. So you
Why
see,
is my sleep been interrupted?
and why is it wrong? See how it's the filter says something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Or it's like, what is it? And I say it from what is it from a place of not being safe, like from a threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not, it's like, look at it. And that's fascinating. That is such an amazing mechanism of our nervous system.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting is that our natural rhythms keep getting interrupted.
Mhm.
And I guess we build a whole thought structure around that, around those
Oh,
interruptions.
and a whole response and a whole conditioning, a whole protection, a whole
Yeah, well, that's what I
safety.
mean. It's a thought structure. It's a structure,
Yes, yes, it is.
a structure of interpretation and thought. And
Yeah. And so much based on what we experienced in our family structures.
yeah, so this
And
overwhelm we're feeling right now is all of those structures being put to the test.
yeah, certain one, yeah, ones that are
Well,
the
a
ones
lot
that
of
are
them.
the ones that are entangled in it, you bet.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think they're just trying to tell us something. We're just been conditioned not to listen to what's being told. It's the best way I've been able to work with it. It's just, what's the information telling me? Right? Asking that question, sitting in the silence. Uh, for however
yeah. And
long.
yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just getting this is that these intense energies that are floating around, like even things like solar flares, and those kind of things, though they're challenging all the energies like that are challenging all these structures that we built our lives around.
And if we say an acceleration of consciousness is happening around the world,
Yes.
same thing.
Yep. Yeah, it's all part and parcel of that same phenomenon. And it's as if Mother Nature has been preparing our physiology to handle it.
Hmm. If you called it, we've been going down it says that we've been going down the wrong path, and I don't and it's like, and so nature says we're correct this, we're going to bring it back. It's like that's a long history, right? So you would, meaning fast change.
Going back to our natural state, everything we've been taught
Yeah.
is unnatural. Wake up now.
Yes.
But I'm not hungry yet. I would have woken up when I was hungry. Natural
That's
state.
good. That's a great word for it. Back to the natural state, to a choice awareness. We are powerful in our creations as a creators. Like we can create it. We can create what we want when we're aware of where we're at. And sitting in the tension between the two, holding the tension of that vision, of that intention of the end result. Natural state of creation. As I say it, as I see it, as the best fundamental way of structure to see it happening with what we're capable of, which is really just expanding love.
Yeah, I heard a really intriguing term for that yesterday. I wrote it down. The term goes like this: ancient future.
It's like a future memory.
Yeah, well, sort of. But it's like the ancient is that natural that Heinz just talked about.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
It's like the original, the original human.
And when you think of ancient, how far back do you go? Like, to what people do you go to?
Those who are before the history books.
Hmm.
When we didn't write things down, we just did it.
Hmm.
Yes, and before the Jewish Bible. The in-betweens of the book of Genesis that weren't written.
Hmm.
There's gobs and gobs of stuff missing from the first 3 chapters of Genesis, especially.
Yeah, how did we get from Noah to population again? Big step.
Well, that's actually recorded, believe it or not.
Okay.
There's Noah's 3 sons, and there's some genealogy in there about them. What I'm suggesting is that there's a lot of information missing between the creation, like when the earth was without form and void, between there and the Adam and Eve story. So I'm fascinated that by the time Genesis was written, a lot of stuff was forgotten.
Or just natural.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Because you document changes
Yep.
generally.
Yep.
You know, what's changed.
The difference, right? See, that's why I say differences are the only thing that create the meaning. They bring light on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Adam and Eve story is a major life altering event for all of humanity and the planet itself.
And like so much of it is actual event or a metaphor.
Yeah, yeah. But somehow we're kind of anchored to this story that basically says that something went terribly wrong. And all of our history is kind of anchored to that. At least Western history. It's fascinating to me that Indigenous people don't really agree with that and aren't, and in many cases aren't angered to that disaster story.
Exactly.
But in white Western society, we seriously are.
It's wrong, and so we want to make it right. And I sit with that wrong. It's like that's the flavor that it took. That's the conditioning that's been passed down. But it's like does nature doesn't really know right or wrong, right? From that, like, does nature make a mistake if it's already written? And either way, there's no way we go back and fix it. All we can do is recognize, be aware of how we orient to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and create something totally different.
Exactly. That's how it is. Fine.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean it has to continue to be there. But if we're held onto that anger, right, looking back at it, wanting to be different, wanting it to never have gone that direction, we never get out of that structure.
yeah, yeah. Well, because we insist on trying to fix it
Mm-hmm.
as if that's the only option.
That's right. That's what we focus into, which means we just keep bringing it back into creation.
Yeah,
See,
keep recreating the
magic.
same old thing over and over again.
Yeah, the magical, unresolvable patterns.
Yeah, yeah,
And then they say history repeats itself.
History.
yeah,
And see the focus history. So we're already going backwards, repeats itself as the present, which then means that that loop, continuously loop, unspoken, is always creating the future.
yeah, yeah. However, we're being presented an opportunity in this generation to interrupt and move beyond the cycle.
Yep. Awareness of that cycle, like that there is something else. And that was always available to every other generation prior.
Right. Mm. Wow, you guys, the contemplation's been rich this morning.
Yep, it's one out of one loop and over to the next, not loop, but it's sort of like a circle going outwards, expanding.
Craig, thanks for bringing current reality and the vulnerability, the recognition, the awareness, the ability to stand with it and say, this is what it is. This is how I'm seeing it. This is how I view it. This is what it means to me. That's the only way we move through those things in our way. which is a new paradigm of responsibility, likely, where the past or the other places, the history has been to blame it, right? To blame it on someone else, which is not responsibility, to avoid it.
To give it on to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
The excuse is we didn't have the knowledge or the technology to do it as easy as you could. Excuses.
We're getting some feedback on your audio there, Heinz.
Oh, it's because I have to put my headphones on. I'm going with the bus right now.
There, thank you.
Craig, anything you'd like to close with? Recap?
Well, I just got this vision of this energy tsunami that's kind of hitting us right now. And there's nothing personal about it.
Mm.
You know, it's affecting the whole planet. Affecting the whole planet, all of its systems, all of its structures, all of its inhabitants. Both plant and animal and mineral. Mm. Yeah, and it's just it's for us to ride it. Allow it to take us to something new. Ride that wave of potential directly into its promise.
Ride that wave of potential right into its promise.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm complete.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Will do. You too, gentlemen.
Yes,
Love and
thank
hugs.
you. Okay. Bye now.